Perry. Is there a motion to begin the real estate meeting?
So moved.
Ms. Perry, can you do a roll call, please?
Ms. Henry,
Here.
Mr. Watson,
Here.
Dr. Borshak, Ms. Jones,
Here.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Watson to introduce Navigate, it is, that will be presenting on a PACE project. Is it on, I'm sorry, I do want to introduce Ms. Henry in her new role as the Real Estate Director of Real Estate. Ms. Henry, is it on you, Ms. Henry, or is it on Chief Watson?
Well, I did, and thank you for that, President Cousins. Good afternoon, everyone. This is our real estate meeting, and I did want to introduce our newest Director of Real Estate, Ms. Henry. So, Ms. Henry, welcome aboard, and please introduce our first presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. We will have a presentation from Navigate on the PACE financing approach.
Good afternoon to Madam President Cousins and members of the board, Dr. Borshade. Congratulations on I think it's the 2-year commitment for superintendent, school leaders, Chief Watson, and congratulations to our newest director, real estate, Ms. Shamika Henry. We're no strangers in this space, but just for the sake of our listening audience and to be formal, my name is Chaz Jaquez, proud alum of SLPS. I'm leading the charge from the Navigate Building Solutions side, which is the owner's representative for SLPS.
Yeah, Corey Baxter Mueller with Navigate, our K-12 market leader and assistant Chaz through these projects, and going to walk through the PACE financing approach is something that was brought up with the district, trying to find a additional funding source for additional renovations to the district themselves. Start out here, we're just going to go through the agenda. What is PACE? What is MCED, which is the Missouri Clean Energy District? And then talk about operating expenditure, cost reduction opportunities, and then a potential approach to projects. We're going to start out with PACE. So PACE is the Property Assessed Clean Energy. This is a financing mechanism through Missouri DNR, and there is actually a PACE St. Louis portion of that. And it's an opportunity for you to actually generate funding or apply for funding and receive funding through the state, and it's set up in the state statutes there in statute 67.28 through 67.284. So this is statute funding, and it's set up through the state. MCED is the Missouri Clean Energy District. This is the actual district that you would get your funding through. It's a political subdivision of the state. Everything you see up here is actually off the DNR and the MCED website. So it allows for public facilities to benefit not only through the PACE funding, but clean energy and energy products. So they create financing opportunities for public entities such as yourself. The financing is not referendum financing. It's more of an application of financing that gets applied to whatever building the project is in, gets applied to the deed of that project or the deed of that building. That works well with different entities, meaning if you put money and financing into a building and it applies to the deed, if that building falls under new ownership in the future, it follows that deed. So that is a critical part of PACE. So if that were an option in the future, it stays with the deed. So the benefits, we want to talk a little bit about the benefits of MCED and what actually can be financed. I bulletized, or I highlighted 3 items there in the bullets of what can be financed, because those will be applying to what we've seen on St. Louis Public Schools, but there are other items in there. Main one is energy improvements, if you're able to find ways to do energy and mechanical improvements. 2, it's public buildings. All your buildings are public buildings. And 3, it's renovation projects. So you hit all 3 of those bullets with potential opportunities within your district that can allow you to be financed through PACE. The benefits at MCED, it's a tax exempt financing, which you guys are a tax exempt entity. Part of it is the payments for these can be deferred for up to 3 years. So you can get through the project and actually see the benefits of the project before your first payment gets applied for. And really, it's a financing mechanism that stays with the improvements of the building. We wanted to show how these projects could be set up, knowing what we've been working on with the school district on their Prop S projects. And through Prop S and through PACE, you can do the same exact thing, where you have the opportunity for ESCO projects on the left side of the screen there, or the DBB, which is the design, bid, build, the traditional method. You can run both of those projects, and it's not required to do both of those. It's not required to do one or the other, but it is an opportunity to do both of those. We wanted to show both of them because there are projects that may not be energy improvements, but the projects that you want to do under this financing. And we like to show how you can couple that with an ESCO or an energy improvement project, because through those energy improvement projects, you should be able to find a reduction in capital expenditures. And in the intent of those reductions is try to cover the cost of financing through PACE. And then I wanted to review real quick just the escrow approach. What is the escrow approach? Make sure we're all, not escrow, ESCO. Make sure we're all up to speed there. And it's going through and doing an assessment of your existing buildings, your utility costs, and really understanding what are those buildings. They do a full audit, and then they go into a construction to implement improvements based on those assessments and audits, and try to improve the cost for the district. And then just a quick recap. So PACE is really just a funding source through the state of Missouri that you can apply for. That gets applied to the deed of whatever building the improvements happen within. Energy upgrades provide potential payback to cover PACE funding. That's where the ESCO portion may fall in there. And then the PACE can be used to fund renovations for multiple buildings within the district with no requirement for payback. That's just a potential option. And it just creates opportunity within the district, because you guys have a wealth of buildings that you're trying to find different opportunities to do renovations or bring improvements to the buildings. That is my quick recap on PACE to show the district as a potential opportunity for you guys to find ways to finance projects if needed.
Thank you for that, Mr. Corey. Is there any questions?
You said that the financing mechanism, it stays with the improvements of the building.
Yes.
What does that look like when we go to sell buildings that we have that attached to?
It goes with the deed of the building. So the new owner of the building would assume whatever financing is attached, because the financing is in the deed of the building, it's part of the building.
Okay.
So, to be clear, when we're looking at PACE financing, and I know one of the commitments that we had when using Prop S dollars was that was specifically for our occupied buildings. So when we're looking at the PACE, this is something that the district can kind of utilize when we're talking about the citywide plan, and what we would do with our vacant buildings, how we're able to diversify the usage of the vacant buildings, i.e. what we're looking to do with Northwest, what we can potentially do with 801. This is something that PACE could be utilized for?
Yes, you can use it in occupied or unoccupied buildings. So this is a funding source you can use for all those projects you listed.
Okay. So PACE could be used to provide whatever necessary upgrades that are kind of like a refinance on 801.
Yes, if you want to do for 801, we could create a project list and submit through PACE to get funding for it to do a project here as well, yes.
Where we're looking at bringing energy efficient to 801, roofing needs, the minor or major cosmetic things that 801 is in need of. This is something that we can look to go after the PACE dollars to do.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Secretary Jones. Oh, that was your question. So this could basically be used as another funding tool for the district when it comes to our real estate properties.
Yes, it can. That's because gives you an opportunity to find different financing options to fund your projects.
Okay. Any other questions? Chief
Just
Watson?
a question in terms of the process. I mean, is there an application that the district will fill out, or what is that process, if you know?
Yes, it's submitting applications through DNR and through their website, and kind of like the grant process, filling out the forms, submitting, and waiting for feedback. You will meet with the lending entity and figure out where it's coming from and set terms.
My question was, are there other districts on the website that talk about how they might, or how they have used these funds?
I didn't look on their website for other school districts using it currently.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Borsche?
I have a few questions. I'm trying to make sure that I understand. So we have several buildings that are unoccupied. And if I'm following correctly, what this is suggesting is that we would use PACE to then improve those buildings and then sell them?
That is up to you guys. PACE provides you an opportunity if you're looking at unoccupied buildings as a way to do improvements. The end goal of that is not, PACE doesn't require you to sell them. PACE is not a part of that. PACE is just a funding source. If that were a want of the district to eventually sell the buildings, PACE does not become a burden on the district beyond the sale. That is what we're looking for, is a potential opportunity there for the district.
Okay.
I think, so let me kind of chime in to help give clarity, because I see you seem a little puzzled, Dr. Borsche. What he's saying is, this is another funding source to be able to come and say we do whatever renovations to this. I always use 801 as an example, or Northwest as an example. And I say Northwest because we were able to receive federal dollars to do infrastructure repairs to Northwest, but we're also needing additional dollars. So this is what that additional dollars will go toward, you know, because the federal dollars is the 4.25 million to do infrastructure redesign to the building, but there are additional work that will need to be done to that particular property. Once that's done, coming from PACE, like this is the different funding pool. I just want to make sure I'm on the right path. Once that's done, there may be a loan from PACE or dollars that's owed to PACE. That money will be attached to the deed of Northwest. If SLPS chooses to sell Northwest 10, 15, 20 years down the road, whatever that cost that we got from PACE, that will be tacked on to Northwest. If we choose not to, that cost factor will still be tacked to that deed.
Correct.
Correct? But if we choose to sell it 10 or 15 years down the road, say whatever that sale price is, whatever the deed or whatever is owed on it could be added to the sale price, and that new owner would take the assumption of that cost.
Yes, they would assume the financing.
Of
So
whatever it was. So the district has the opportunity to pretty much be able to diversify what we're doing with our properties.
Yes.
If we choose to sell, we're saying, okay, we're going to go with PACE, and we're going to use a building, even hypothetically, to demo this building. If we're demoing the building, and I don't know if that falls up under the guidelines.
I'd have to go back and double check. I did not see demolition as an opportunity for one of these, but I can confirm that.
So, but if that's the case, whatever the cost factor is, when we choose to sell, then whomever is assuming the sale of that building or that land is now assuming whatever that remaining balance is
Correct.
that came from PACE.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Does that help you, Dr. Borche? Somewhat?
Yes, in theory.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Any other questions from Mr. Corey? No other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Henry, do you have anything else to present before the Real Estate Committee in open session?
I have nothing else for open session.
Is there a motion to go in, to adjourn open session and go into closed session? I need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, open session and go into closed session.
Second.
Ms. Perry?
Ms. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Dr. Borshake, Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Cousins.
Yes. We are adjourned.